talk about the warm-up. So this is called an inequality. Can someone read this to me?
X is less than or equal to 30.
That's right. Okay. So sometimes students have trouble knowing which one is less than and which one is greater than. So this is like an arrow. Which arrow does this look like? This one or this one? The one on the left or the one on the right? The one on the left. These numbers are smaller. They are less. The ones on the left are smaller, less. That's less. The ones on the right going in this direction, that arrow is bigger. It is greater than. And it's not like that. So think of it as an arrow. Okay? So when we graph x is less than or equal to 3, is it going to be a closed circle or an open circle?
Closed.
Closed, because? Because it includes 3. It's less than or can be equal to 3. If it was just less than, it'd be an open circle. And then it's less than, so its arrow is pointing in the direction of the numbers that are smaller than 3. So now, f composed of g of x. I'm finding that some students are looking at this and thinking it is multiplication. Notice it is an open circle, so it's not multiplication, it's composed of. So we take our g of x, which is negative 2x plus 5, and it's f of negative 2x plus 5. So first we start with the g of x, which is negative. I'm trying to talk right now. So we take the g of x, which is negative 2x plus 5, and we put it into the f function. Does that make sense? So now we're going to take this f function, which is 3x minus 9, take 3 and put the negative 2x plus 5 in place of x, minus 9. So now we distribute negative 6x plus 15 minus 9, which is negative 6x plus 6. And that is what f composed of g of x is.
I
know that it's a little harder because we're bringing the operation functions and the composition functions together. So that was the purpose, was to get you to see the difference. Okay, so today we're going to be doing domain. So onto your notes. So we are going to find.
You just,
So we are going to find the domain in inequality notation. So that's why we talked about, thanks. That's why we talked about that inequality, the difference between less than or equal to and greater than or equal to. So what we have done in here so far is we have done the domain and range of specific points. We've got this line segment. Does that cover a number of just some points, or is it an infinite number of points there? So are there a finite number of points between here and here?
Yeah.
There's not, because we have all the decimals there also. So we have an infinite number of points in between -4 and 4. So when we name our domain, it's going to be on an interval. Okay? So we're going to start with our smallest x value. So domain is x values, right? So is my x-axis here, or is it up and down? Where's my x-axis? Up and down or left and right? Left and right. So we are doing left and right. That's all we're doing today, is domain. So we're looking at our x-axis, and we're taking these points and squishing them down to the x-axis. What is my farthest left point from this graph? -4. So this point right here, which is -4.
Wouldn't it be -1?
So we're just looking at the x value. That's it.
Oh.
You're right. That's the point, but we're just looking at the x value. So our x would be between -4 and what's this number to the right, farthest to the right? 5. So are we including the -4? Yes. So it is -4 is less than or equal to x. And then are we including the 5? Yes, so less than or equal to 5. So what this is saying is x is greater than or equal to -4 and x is less than or equal to 5. That's what that's saying there.
They're just in between them.
It's in between them. That's right. In between and including because of the underlines. Does that make sense? So we are going to write it the short way, which is this here. So in order to write it in one statement, this is how we have to write it. We could write it like that, up there. But it has to go in this direction. This is saying x is greater than or equal to -4 and it's less than or equal to 5. Good question. Essentially less writing, I guess. That's part of it. Okay. So what about number 2?
-5. Oh, wait.
Okay. Nothing right. You're owning it. What happens? So we're looking at the value that's farthest to the left. So what would that value be? -5. So the x value of this point is a -5. So we're going to put an x here. Is this going to be greater than or equal to?
Less or greater than. Wait.
Or a -5 is less than x or less than or equal to x?
It's less than.
Yeah. So what do you think about what Aiden just said? He said it's less than this. Yeah. How do we know that? How do we know whether it's less than or less than? It has to do with this circle. This circle is open or closed?
Oh.
Open. So it is not including the -5. Okay. We'll talk about something in a moment. So what would be the farthest right point? X value. And so it's less than or equal to 5? Less than or equal to, because this is a closed circle. Does that make sense?
Oh, so it's open, it's less than. Okay.
So why wouldn't we write this? This is wrong, but why is it wrong? Why wouldn't we write it like this?
Because
That's right. There's lots of numbers that are between -4 and -5. Lots of decimals, like -4.5, -4.1, -4.9999. Lots of numbers in between there, so that's why we have that open circle there, and that's how we name it like this. Does that make sense? Okay, on to the next one, number 3. What's different there? An arrow.
Oh, is this like the infinity thing?
That's right. When we talk about infinity, that's what that arrow means. But that arrow is facing which direction? So I know it's kind of facing down, but we're going to look at how it faces in the x direction. So this is actually facing left also in the x direction. Yeah. So positive infinity or negative infinity? Negative infinity. So this may be the first time some of you have even heard of negative infinity. This is that's what we're looking at with that arrow there on the negative infinity. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Oh, negative infinity, does that make sense? The negative infinity? Okay. So this arrow is going this direction. So it's negative infinity.
Watch our it's like this.
I know you've never heard of that before because it's going this arrow. If we squish it up here, it's going this way. It's going towards negative infinity. And then, so when we put this, do we put it less than x, or do we put less than or equal to?
Less than.
Is infinity a number?
No.
It's not. So we're going to leave it as just a less than. So over here, what's the number here? 3, and then less than or equal to, or less than?
Less than or equal to.
Yes. Why, Derek? Why is it equal to? Closed circle.
Up there.
Questions on that? Okay, so what about number 4?
Negative infinity. Oh,
We're
wait.
going to have 2 sides again. We have an interval.
Symbol for all possible.
Yeah. Let me talk about something on this one here. Another way you could write this would be x is less than or equal to 3. Either one is fine. You have to know this one also, though. You need to know what that is there. So number 4, what's happening on number 4?
Infinity, so it's negative infinity.
Negative infinity, infinity, and then what about the arrows? Less than, and less than, no less than or equal to? Correct. Yeah.
Can you just put the symbol for all real numbers?
So I don't want you to do that on this one. I want it in inequality notation, which is this. This is inequality notation. But you're right, that's the idea, Dexter, that it's all real numbers. Okay, number 5. See if you can do number 5. See if you can do that on your papers or your whiteboard.
I slept freaking 8.
So we're kind of excited. I can really excited. Wait, I don't like it. So. Yeah, it does look different, but I think it's so.
Or when they hit you.
I feel bad.
Don't let a kid sleep.
It's the farthest X,
right?
It's the farthest X, though.
I would just be like, if you want to just say if you want.
I'm really excited.
Wait.
Are you excited?
Like,
No.
I'll be such a good teacher.
Oh, yeah. Because I got
So,
we're here.
I feel like I'd be
That's so that's the warmest.
No, I know. No, it was
oh, right.
What?
Oh, sorry. It doesn't come out. Oh, so we never know.
What are you doing number 5 right now, please?
Come on, dude.
Oh, Lisa, did I get it right? Do we have homework this weekend?
Yeah.
Do we have homework this weekend?
You'll be able to finish in class.
I love sleeping.
Okay, so this one would be negative infinity, less than x, less than or equal to 3. Questions on that? Please, if you have a question, ask it, because if you have it, somebody else probably has it. Any questions on why it's underlined in one of them and not the other one? Got it?
Less than or equal to X, which is less than or equal to
That's in the Y direction, so green. We're just doing domain today. So what about number 6? What do you think about number 6?
Negative infinity is less than x and less than infinity. Right? Oh, wow.
What do you think, Henry?
I'll overdo it.
That's right, less than infinity. That's right. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking at this arrow, squishing it onto here, going to negative infinity. This arrow goes to positive infinity. Okay, so on your home